to go something like this. Sure, we sell lots of records from New Mexico. We put them all right over there in the import section. The times have changed a little bit. Not much, a little bit. They are a-changing. With faster communications and easier travel and accessible technology, the world has suddenly realized that talent is not restricted by geographic boundaries. Cities don't make music, people do. Less than a year ago, a group of artists and merchants and engineers got together to discuss some ways of unifying the New Mexico music industry. And as we talked, we began to realize how much original music was being created in New Mexico. The real tragedy was that nobody, even in this state, knew anything about it. There were all these people working in their own secret projects and in their own little worlds. So we set up an organization to help channel the vast pool of New Mexico talent into the mainstream of the world market. First, we began holding workshops and seminars to provide the information that was previously attainable only if you traveled to conventions and workshops in other cities. Also, we realized that working together was much better than working alone, or even worse, working against each other. Collaboration and networking had to be established. These tools are necessary in any business, so we needed an industry newspaper published on a regular basis to provide a means for communication within our industry. I'm pleased to announce that the first issue of that newspaper will be distributed around the first of the month. Our third step was to establish an annual awards ceremony to recognize and honor excellence in original music and recording in New Mexico. And tonight, I'm privileged to welcome you to the first annual New Mexico Music Industry Coalition Awards. Congratulations. Congratulations, New Mexico. You've come of age.
Thank you, Eric. If you thought that was exciting, wait till you hear this part. To review the purpose and qualifications for the Mike Awards, here is the head of the awards committee, Chuck Hawley.
Thank you. They told me in my Dale Carnegie public speaking class that you should always warm up the audience with a joke or anecdote. So this is a joke, not an anecdote. How many surrealists does it take to screw in a light bulb? Plaid. The New Mexico Music Industry Coalition Awards have been created to recognize excellence in original music and recording in the New Mexico music community. The Mike Awards are open to all entries provided they are original productions recorded in the state of New Mexico before February 1st, 1988. Because this is the first annual competition, we elected to accept all entries. Next year's competition will accept only those works created in 1988. New Mexico is a state of many musical styles. This is reflected by the diversity of the categories that will receive awards this evening. One thing is clear, however. There is much more musical production going on in this state than any of us suspected. We received nearly twice as many entries as we had predicted, and the quality of those entries was remarkably high. All of the entries were first reviewed by screening committees. These committees were made up of industry professionals from around the state. The screening committees had the job of deciding which entries should advance to the final round of judging. As you can imagine, this was an extremely difficult and time-consuming task. The New Mexico Music Industry Coalition owes a debt of gratitude to those people who helped us by participating in those screenings. The final round of judging was done by the entire General Assembly of the New Mexico Music Industry Coalition. After listening to each finalist, secret ballots were cast and delivered by courier to 3 separate accountants, who then tabulated the votes. Only those entries which received extremely high scores in the final round of judging were eligible for a Mike Award. The results of that final judging will be revealed for the first time here tonight. Plans have already been initiated for next year's Mike Awards. If you do wish to help build a more vigorous and professional music industry, I invite you to join us at the New Mexico Music Industry Coalition. Get involved and have a voice.
And now we begin to present the first Mike Award ever given. A man who is highly esteemed. Every time I see his picture in the paper, he looks steamed to me. Here is the esteemed City Councilman Pete Dinelli.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a tremendous honor for me to be here this evening to present the first two awards. Hopefully within 2 or 3 years, we'll be able to have this very same type of function at the New Mexico Center for the Performing Arts. The City Council, as you may know, has appropriated some $62 million to build such a facility. With the help of people like Tom Rutherford, we also receive money from the state. So it's a dream that is now fast becoming a reality, and hopefully in a few years we'll be able to have that. But let's get down to the business at hand. As I said, it's a great honor to present the first 2 Mike Awards. As we all aware, in New Mexico, that New Mexico is rich in culture and remains a strong source of Hispanic music. Many of our artists and songwriters are finding success in the Hispanic market, both here as well as abroad. Our first Mike Award this evening is for Best Musical Production, Traditional Spanish. May I have the envelope, please?
No, sweet it is.
And the winner is winner for Milagro, Consuelo Luz.
Well, the last line you heard in that song was Milagro es el triunfo del amor. Another is el triunfo del valor. Love and courage. Triumph of love and courage, which is, I think, the triumph of all us musicians who struggle on in the face of incredible odds to do what comes naturally and comes from we don't know from where, but it's a wonderful feeling to be part of this group here and to be here tonight. I'm real excited and real thrilled. I want to thank a lot of people. First of all, my husband Jeff, who helped me a lot in this project, and the encouragement I got at the beginning for this song. This is a long story. This song was going to be used in the Milagro film until the very day of shooting, where I was rehearsing up in Truchas with a band, and at the last minute Robert Redford came and said, no, we're not going to use that song, we're going to use something else. Oh. Well, for him it was just one last minute split creative decision, and for me, of course, it was a change. Lots of changes. But I went on and published the song. Well, we just put out a record up in Taos, a collective, cooperative effort of Taos musicians, and the song is on this record, which is being put out right now. It was just released last week. So Milagro lives on. Thank you very much.
Continuing with our second Award this evening. They say that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. One form of artistic expression that has become an accepted standard in the music industry is the remake. The next Mike Award is for exactly that. Best musical production, remake. The envelope, please. Feel like Carnage. Let's see. The winner for Secret Agent Man, the Shakers, and the Phil Apple Ball. Is this thing on? Well, I never had any idea how exciting this was going to be. I guess I better start by thanking my folks for all their support, and especially my mother, who flew 1,400 miles to be here tonight to see me in a coat and tie. I'd also like to say that working with the Shakers was definitely one of the highest points of my career, so let me introduce to you two of them, Dennis Painter, Kevin Hughes.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to maybe mention one other thing, that we were really fortunate to work with one of the best sound engineers in this town too, and that's Phil Applebaum. I'd also like to drink a toast tonight for some Shakers who couldn't be here. One of them in the Windy City, that's Eric Benjamin, who's working for his dad now, and Doug and Nancy, who are working in another band in Manhattan. I'd like to drink a toast to them. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you.
The next Mike Award will be presented by a man who has certainly done his part.
Can I talk to you for a second? Congratulations. What will this mean for the Shakers? Will there be more coats and ties in the Shakers' future?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I think
What does the New Mexico Mike mean for an artist? For a local artist?
Well, I moved here from California, and because I got brought out here years ago, and I thought the musicianship was really good out here. And so I moved back, and I've been living here 8 years and playing in bands and loving it, you know, so.
So you find a new attitude here?
Yeah, I like it. I like the people. I like the musicians. They're real good and good players all the way around, you know, and just make me feel good.
Okay, thanks. The Shakers, our first winners. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Our next Mike Award will be presented by a man who has certainly done his part to fortify the New Mexico music market and to protect the New Mexico music industry. I present to you the New Mexico representative of ASCAP. Let's welcome Mr. Hank Hicks.
Thank you, Paul. And ladies and gentlemen, it is really a great pleasure for me to be here tonight and to extend to you the best wishes of all the people at the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers. You've got to start with step one to reach the stars. This is what you're doing tonight. In recent years, the sales of Christian music has skyrocketed across the United States as well as throughout the world. Many radio stations and television stations are dedicated to this medium. It gives me a great pleasure to present this year's Mike Award for the Best Musical Production, Traditional Christian. May I have the envelope, please? And this year's winner for Lullaby, Little Manger Boy, Eric Larson.
Close your eyes and
Look good to spell my name right. Too. Thank you.
And next, as you all know, soundtrack has become a lucrative market for songwriters and performers. It's no longer just a background music. It's now become an integral part of the drama on screen, and in fact, the publishing income and sales of soundtrack has pushed many movies from the red into the black. This year's Mike Award for Best Soundtrack goes to, and could I please have the envelope? Thank you. And the winner is, for Only the Best, Kevin J. Hughes.
Well, this is great. I can't help but wonder if we maybe got this by default. I'm not sure if anybody else was entered in this category, but nonetheless, I'm very, very happy about it. I'd especially like to thank Phil Applebaum here, who's a very, very close friend, and gave me the opportunity to do my very first music score, which is a real thrill. I've always wanted to do it, always been a film music fan, and I'm really hoping that in the future, New Mexico will see more industrial videos so that we can do some more film scoring. I'd also like to thank John Klein, who's a tremendous sound technician who put the whole thing together and worked on the video. All of us together. It was a big collaborative effort, and I'm really proud to be a part of it. Thank you.
Now, what Kevin neglected to mention was that Only the Best was a documentary on shrimp fishing in the Gulf of Mexico. Well, I'd just like to say that Kevin did such a fabulous job on the score that every time I hear that music, all I can think about is leaning over the rail of the shrimp boat. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can we talk to you for a second, Kevin? Sure. Congratulations. This is Kevin Hughes, winner in the Best Soundtrack division. Kevin, what does an award in an organization like this mean for a composer, for a musician, a local musician, for you?
Well, I think it's gonna create a much bigger profile for people who are involved in the music industry, particularly here in New Mexico. Albuquerque has always had a really, really strong music scene, and now I feel like this is giving us a great deal more credibility.
And meaning even possibly more work?
Very much so, and the fact that ASCAP is represented here tonight, I think, is a good indication that someone is taking us seriously now, and that's really good.
All right, thank you very much. Kevin Hughes.
Before I introduce our next special guest, I'd like to tell you a little about Hector Garcia. Hector was originally from Cuba, but when Fidel Castro came into power, Hector found refuge on the friendly shores of Florida. While he was playing trumpet around nightclubs and the Florida area, he heard about a militia that was being formed, a force to overthrow Castro. After training in Guatemala, Hector was among the soldiers who invaded Cuba at the Bay of Pigs, where he was captured and imprisoned. After 2 years of captivity, he was allowed to leave Cuba, and his brother-in-law urged him to come to the land of enchantment, where he could begin his practice as a teacher even before he'd mastered the English language. Since that time, Hector has taught at the University of New Mexico, studied in Spain with the great master Emilio Pujol, and become world famous for his skill and grace with the guitar. Now I present to you with great pride, Hector Garcia. any common endeavor to succeed, whether it be music and the arts, or sports, or education, one must have the participation of the business community. In New Mexico, in all of those areas and many others, and tonight we are especially thankful for participation in the music industry, one business group stands out. The Maloof companies have done more than just talk about supporting local music. By underwriting recordings and sponsoring local artists, the Maloofs have demonstrated to New Mexico that music is good business. Here representing the Maloof companies is our next presenter, Gavin Maloof.
Tonight I'd again like to thank Eric Larson and New Mexico music industry for this evening tonight. I think it's important to finally recognize the musical talent that we have in this state. There is a tremendous amount of talent in this room, and I'm just proud to be a part of presenting that talent. Thank you. In today's advertising, music is indispensable. Music sells cars, hamburgers, clothing, beverages, just about anything you can imagine. It can make or break a marketing campaign. In the development of every jingle, two of the key players are the writer and the engineer. The engineering problems that are presented by jingle production are quite different from conventional recordings. People who engineer jingles specialize in being creative in the face of high pressure, short deadlines, and last-minute changes. For Best Jingle Production and Engineering, the award goes to and the winner is, for Come See the World, John Klein.
You know, this has been a night of first for me. I never do sound for free. I never dress up for a gig. And I never speak into a microphone unless it's in an empty room to say test 1, 2. And since I might not be back up here again tonight, I'd like to thank Kevin Hughes, who wrote that piece of music. His undeniable talents as a songwriter, being able to craft a piece of music for virtually any situation. And as cliche as this might sound, I'd like to thank my parents. They don't quite understand, they are here tonight, and they don't quite understand what it is I do for a living. But they have supported me, and I'm really happy that they're here tonight to share this with me. And I'd especially like to thank my wife, Andrea, who every month we decide, well, let's see, do we move into a bigger apartment, do we get a house, or do we buy a new synthesizer? Well, we go up to Grandma's and buy a new synth. So anyway, thank you very much.
Sure. John Klein, multiple winner already. What are the Mike Awards going to mean for a producer, technician, engineer, and jingle writer in Albuquerque?
Well, for one thing, I hope I get more work out of this.
Okay.
But in my business, being behind the scenes, you don't get a lot of recognition, and this is really special for me because I don't often get a chance to get up in front of my peers and say thank you.
So it's that extra dimension then.
Yes.
All right, John Klein.
Thank you very much.
For tonight's second award, jingle writing is a unique challenge in the world of music. The writer must construct a piece of music that sells the product, entertains the listener, and still synchronizes with the video. All this in 30 seconds, no more, no less. If it works, millions of people will hear the jingle. But unlike a popular song, the jingle remains virtually anonymous, except for tonight. The winner of this year's Mike Award for Best Jingle Composition is, may I have the envelope, please? winner is, for It's Electric, Eric Larson.
Illuminating, innovating, enterprising, energizing. If it brightens your life, it's electric.
I guess the other one kind of caught me off guard. This one kind of caught me off guard. But I do want to thank well, I guess I'm off guard. Huh? I want to thank my dear friend Tim Rich. He's the best engineer. I don't want to thank my parents. What the heck? Thank you.
What can we say about our next presenter that hasn't already been said? The New York Daily News called her a journalistic jewel hidden in the enchanted sands of Mexico. The Washington Post called her Metzger. She was voted best anchor in 1987 by Ship and Shore magazine. Ronald Reagan said, "Jane, wasn't that my first wife?" And Vidal Sassoon says, "She made me what I am today, rich." Ladies and gentlemen, the action in Action 7 News, Miss Jane Metzler.
Geez, Tom, I know there's a writer's strike on, but really, this is so sad. By the way, I did invite my hairdresser to come to this function tonight. I think he might have already been here, sat down at the table, and then saw T.J. Trout's name card at my table, so he's not here, but everything I am today and my additional 6 inches of height I owe to him. I'm supposed to read this. Thank you, Tom, you frazzled end of a misspent youth. And just for the record, I was not Ronald Reagan's first wife, although some days I feel like they make me look like Nancy. I've been asked to present the award for Best Musical Production, R&B, Soul, Funk, Blues. I'm not sure why they picked me. Maybe it was because of my roots. Ha ha ha. Yes, another hair joke. I'm really happy to be here. At any rate, may I have the envelope, please? And the winner for No More Rap, Thomas J. Mitchell and Daryl Piper.
Boy, this was a lot of fun. I got a call one weekend from a friend of mine by the name of IJ in New Jersey, and he says, I got this idea for a tune. So he flew in from New Jersey and we put this together in a weekend, and thanks to Tim Rich, Eric, and my dear friend Daryl Piper, who I've been with about 10 years now, we put together a bunch of young singers, and we did No More Rap, and we're still working on getting it out to the public. So thank you, everybody. I
have to say I'm really impressed with the trophies. They are really nice, I expected somebody bowling. And I know the Albuquerque Press Club Awards, we get a monkey smoking a cigar. And I don't know what that has to do with journalism, but generally they break on the way home. I went to pick mine up, and my hand stuck to the paint, and I kind of couldn't part with it for the rest of the night. So I am very, very impressed with the Mike Awards. When it started, it was considered bordello music. We can all relate to that. It made use of such offensive instruments as the trap set and the saxophone. From those controversial beginnings, jazz has become an American institution. From big band to bebop to cool jazz to fusion, jazz has flourished. For Best Musical Production Jazz, this year's Mike Award goes to, may I have the envelope, please? And the winner is for Parade of Strangers, Kevin A. Zernig, and that's how you pronounce it. There's a pronouncer underneath. Kevin. Michael Jackson, I guess. They never like to accept this on his behalf.
Sorry, Kevin couldn't be here tonight, but I'm sure he'll be happy.
Our next presenter has compiled an incredible list of accomplishments. He is one of the most impressive, noteworthy, and notorious promoters in Nashville. And yet, around his own home state, only a few people know his name, except some of us old-timers. He's the promoter of more than 1,100 national chart records, 51 of which have hit #1. They include such giants as Harper Valley PTA, Tennessee Birdwalk, and Before the Next Teardrop Falls. He recently produced Jerry Jaramillo's current album, which has been chosen by Billboard magazine as the pick album of the week. If we were in Nashville, we'd be honoring him. Instead, he's come here to honor us. Let's welcome to present our next award from Berlin, Little Richie Johnson.
I almost believe that myself, Tom. You did a great job on that. I'm very, very pleased to present the award for the Best Musical Production, Country and Western. I have a few things here to say that were written down, but I'd rather say it from my heart than to read something. And what I want to say is that I've been in New Mexico for 30 years, and I'm very, very proud of the great state. And I'm very, very proud of so many people that have accomplished so many things from here. I'm very proud when Gene Watson or Charlie Pride or the great cut a song that was written by Dave Kirby from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Very proud when Kenny Rogers recorded a big hit called Lucille, written by Hal Bynum from Albuquerque, New Mexico. So there's so much talent in this great state, and we can all stick together. We'll bring it out and let people know that New Mexico is #1, and that we will be #1. I mean that. And now for the Best Musical Production of Country and Western, may I have the envelope, please? And the winner is, for Katie Let's Dance, Eric Larson and Jose Ponce.
It's a wonderful way to get rid of your blues. You can dance and know that it's true. It's time to put on those old dancing shoes. They're just getting dusty, so let's put them to use. I like good times, it can't be beat, and nothing suits me better than moving my feet. So now that you've got the chance, come out from behind the bar, Katie, let's dance.
Now he has to think of something.
Where's that piece of paper? I've been writing music for 13 years, and it's nice to be recognized by people who know what it's all about. I especially want to thank my creator, because he's the one who lets me write music. Eric, because Eric lets me slide sometimes when I don't have the money to go into the studio, and lets me wait till I can pay him back. And my wife, who really stands behind me. My son was asking me why this was such an important deal for me when I was on my way here tonight. And I said it was hard to explain, except that to do something that you just can't help but doing and be recognized by people for it is really important. So thanks everybody. It's really special.
I just want to thank Jose's creator too.
Jose is the winner in the country music category, and for somebody who's been writing music for 13 years, what is this award and this organization going to mean to you as an artist in the future?
Well, as an artist in the future, I'll tell you what it means most. After 13 years, you get real discouraged because you write and you write and you write, and nobody wants to buy or nobody really pays attention. This means I can keep going for another 13 years because I know I can do it.
All right. Congratulations to Jose.
Thank you very much.
Sometimes good music just doesn't fall into the typical categories, such as some of the songs that I write. And I did write a song, but they sort of rejected it. It was called, They Say That Rain Makes Things Beautiful, but maybe with you to take a cloudburst. And actually, no, it was a ballad. For some of you rock and rollers, I also write, in case after the show if you're interested. I have one that I wrote called I Didn't Know the Baseball Park Was Haunted Until the Old Bat Spoke to Me, and it's got a... I can take a hint. But anyway, the New Mexico Mine created a category called Best Musical Production. Just open to any music that actually belongs in any of the other categories. It doesn't belong in the other categories, and these entries range from the novelty songs to the instrumental folk dances. And this winner's in the other category. May I have the envelope, please? And the winner for Creation of the Universe, Michael Swick.
The Celestial Planning Board soon came to full accord and zoned the planet residentially. When the great time-sharing plan on Condo Earth began, real estate was for the wealthy few. Now even low-class bugs and germs could afford the easy terms on a...
Except for Mike is Robin Yarbrough. I think Mike's out studying the Big Bang Theory somewhere.
Well, it wasn't long.
I'd like to accept this award for him, partly because he's not here and partly because I really like this song. Thank you.
They say the harder you work, the luckier you get. And this has never been more true than in the case of our next performer. Lisa has been building a career in music for years, and recently she was featured on KLSK Classic 104, and the response to the airplay was overwhelming. People began to call the studio and ask where they could get her album. As a result, Lisa is now in the studio working on her debut album, and here with a sneak preview of what may well be the winner of a second annual Mike Award is New Mexico's own Lisa Lederer.
Receptionist doing a nail test on green streets. Voices silver.
Okay, we're here with Lorraine Lewis and Mazzy Rod of the band Femme Fatale, two Albuquerque musicians that had to leave to achieve success. And when did you leave Albuquerque?
We left probably about a year ago, moved to the big bad city of L.A.
And at that time, you had to leave Albuquerque to achieve the success, the whatever you want to do. You had to get out of town.
You got to leave. You got to go. It's not here. I mean, you can get it started here, but you got to go to the big city, spread your wings, either sink or swim.
Okay. Do you see any, coming back tonight, do you see any kind of new attitude, new, an event like this, an organization like this? Does it feel different to you coming back to Albuquerque?
Oh, yeah. We had no idea this was going to be this big of a thing, right. Because of the Albuquerque attitude. But this is great.
They picked us up in a limo. What can I say? Hey,
Well, that never happened before.
It's great.
I'm hip. So, my question is, what would this, say, an organization like this, have done for you as a band, as artists, as performers, when you were doing it? Would it have helped? How would it have helped?
I just think it's awareness of getting people knowing what's going on in the industry, and that just makes everybody more excited, and they push ahead and get their dream,
Okay.
That's what it's about. It's just an awareness, because you can't do it here. You can get your craft together, but you got to get out of here.
You got to get out of town. Is that a problem, let me ask you, is that a problem with Albuquerque audiences? Is it a problem with, like you say, just promoting awareness? Is there, I've always said that an Albuquerque audience will listen to anything if you put a cold Corona in front of them. Is that a problem for you?
No, it's just the industry's unawareness of Albuquerque. Okay. They're just not aware that there's anything going on here at all.
That indeed there are musicians everywhere. There are good musicians here.
Yeah. And, we're hoping to change that. And stuff like this is going to change it, too.
Okay.
And so is a band like ours, Femme Fatale.
Femme Fatale from Albuquerque, who have a new album coming out, will be released June
22nd.
MCA Records.
MCA recording artist.
And the name of the record is?
Femme Fatale.
Femme Fatale. And can we see you? Will you be touring?
We'll be touring probably late July or early August.
And will we see you in Albuquerque? That's the question, because that's another problem. I mean, we don't see the bands here. We don't,
Well, I'll tell you what. One thing we're doing is we're coming back. Femme Fatale's coming back on the 29th of April, and it's going to be like our last blowout in a club. It's home. It's fun. It's alive. Kind of a bash kind of thing. Everybody's just got to come down and go crazy.
Where is that?
Senior Buckets.
Senior Buckets on April 29th. Femme Fatale. Live.
Our favorite club, in Albuquerque, yeah.
Okay, and thanks for being here. And you'll be presenting awards tonight, or?
Yes, they gave us some lines. We're going to toss those out and come up with our own.
Yeah, I saw that. Lorraine Lewis and Mazzy Rod of Femme Fatale. Thanks, guys.
Happening, thank you.
Appreciate it. Dynamite. You guys are dynamite. Good luck to you. We'll be looking for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, next we get to see what New Mexicans look like after a few weeks in the big city. And this is the place where New Mexicans who are now in the big city come back to honor their friends in Albuquerque in New Mexico. I'm pleased to introduce to you, from MCA Records' newest act, Femme Fatale, Albuquerque's own Lorraine Lewis and Mazzy Rod.
Thank you very much. I used to date that guy's younger brother. And I'll tell you something, in junior high, he was hot stuff. How you doing? Mazzy Rod looks like a Femme Fatale crowd to me. What do you think?
So, what is it that you do to Femme Fatale audiences, Lorraine?
Oh, I go crazy with them. You people with me out there? We'll say yeah. We'll say oh yeah. We'll say ooh. We'll say yeah. Give yourself a hand.
A live performance can be a memorable experience, but in order to capture that performance with its energy and vitality is a unique challenge. So that's what this award is for, the best recording of a live performance. The envelope?
The envelope, please.
For John Gagan Live from Bow Wow Records, Tim Rich. Right, Tim?
thing on? Boy. I'd like to thank my mom, my dad, and my cousins. I'd like to thank the people that put this show on, and especially like Phil Applebaum, John, and Chuck, who's really put in a lot of work, and especially my old buddy and pal Eric Larson. And I'd like to thank the people who decided to record the live recording, which is John and Gagan. Those guys that found us really hot. And I'd like to thank you all. Thank you.
I didn't write this, but the band makes the clothes.
Tim Rich, winner in Best Musical Production Live Performance. What is the award? What is the organization going to do for live productions in Albuquerque?
Well, hopefully it will promote live recording in Albuquerque and New Mexico, and promote the digital technology which we use to record the live performance, and hopefully just promote the whole music scene in general.
To outside New Mexico?
To inside New Mexico and outside New Mexico, whatever it takes to...
And maybe even more work?
Well, that wouldn't hurt. That'd be nice. But also to let the other performers in New Mexico get more exposure and that sort of a thing.
Okay, thank you very much. Tim Rich, winner Best Music Production Live Performance. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Some people say clothes make the band, but in our case, I didn't write this, but the band makes the clothes. That's kind of an embarrassing thing to say. But anyway, actually we did. Goodwill Store Rejects. We'd like to give out this next award for the best performance on video. And it's trapped in that envelope right there. Can we all make a yell and get it? Say please. Thank you. Best live performance on video goes to Marilyn Chambers for, oh no. Yeah, I've seen that one a few times. The winner is, for Planet's New Year's Eve 84-85, John Klein and Phil Applebaum.
Well, you know, I spent about, 6 years or so with the Planets doing live sound for them and touring all over creation. And when I heard they were breaking up, Phil and Dave Justice and I went up to document their last gig at the Club West in Santa Fe. And this is what came out of it. And I really appreciate this. Thank you very much.
Well, this is indeed an honor and a privilege. It's an honor to be recognized by the New Mexico Music Industry Coalition for this work, but it's especially a privilege to work with John Klein. I always enjoy it, always enjoy the results. Thanks, John.
I'd like to thank Phil's mom for driving 1,400 miles to keep him under control.
Throughout history, the world has known many famous and colorful duos: Adam and Eve, Anthony and Cleopatra, Romeo and Juliet, Bartles and James, Rock Hudson and Jim Neighbors, Jim and Tammy Baker. And now together at last from KZRR 94 Rock, Frank Jackson and T.J. Trout.
Thank you very much. Nice to see all the rock and rollers here tonight. It's nice to see
like the rest of us. A few heavy metal people back there, too, I think. So I thought. Listen, I've been called upon tonight to present the Mike Award for the best promotional concept, and come to think of it, I am a promotional concept. You know, it's just one. Yeah, it's true. You know, it used to be for a new artist, you write a good song, you record it, package it, slip in some illicit drugs in the sleeve, and you get a hit, right? But it doesn't work that way anymore. You know, whether you wear a tutu or a wetsuit or you live on a billboard for a week, promotion is necessary. You know, it's a necessity of life. So for best promotional concept, the winner is Kevin Falk for Triax's promotional release. And by the way, I'm going to fill you in on what was involved in this. A black box was sent out filled with various photos, posters, and buttons, press releases, cassettes, and a video. In other words, a complete Triax press kit. These guys know what they're doing. All right. Thank you. Let's go about these guys. This is the man right here. All right, the brains behind the band. I am
Triax Productions is real young. You're going to see a lot of us.
Yeah.
We got the same goals as you, promoting new music in New Mexico. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really good. A lot of you ladies probably confused me with Carl Weathers. What was this fantastic body?
The winners, best promotional concept. Guys, is this like a giant step for promotion in New Mexico?
Boy, I hope so. I hope so. As long as you're looking at me, thank Bob Bottomley from the bottom of my heart, because he helped a lot for everything we did.
Everybody at Channel 27.
Yeah.
Thank you, Triax. The winners.
This guy right here.
Shh, quiet. They're doing drugs on stage.
And thank you, Triax, the winners of the best promotional concept. And it goes on even as we speak.
So I'm supposed to say here.
This is pretty good.
This is good.
Yeah.
A lot of you ladies probably confused me with Carl Weathers. What was this fantastic body? Masculinity exuding everywhere. Great tan. That's why they call me Action Jackson.
Yeah! Get right. Since when?
Since I was 2. I'm going to present the Mike Award for Best Musical Production, Rock and Roll, and may I have that, please? And the winner is for Beauty is Effective. John Klein.
Look at the effect, right? Anyways, I want to, on behalf of all these guys, I guess, first of all, I want to thank John Klein. Without him, this wouldn't have been possible. He kind of salvaged the tapes, made them into something that was commercially or whatever, aesthetically acceptable. Anyways, we're kind of surprised, actually. As you can see, we're slightly unprepared. But anyways, we just want to say that we're really glad to see this kind of thing going on in New Mexico. We as a band have been pushing for it for a couple of years, as a lot of you probably know, to see original music and just a music scene start happening here. And we just want to say thanks to everybody. Thanks.
Also, we came from Taos, New Mexico, and there wasn't a lot of the scene there, so we went to Austin, Texas, and it showed us one thing that a music scene needs, and that's camaraderie. And we hope that that will kind of spread in Albuquerque and throughout New Mexico. Thanks a lot.
Okay, Jackson. Next category is
Can we talk to you live? This is the Mutts, Chris,
Gail,
and what's the drummer's name? Hunter. What's this going to do for a band like the Mutts, who already has pretty much of a following, you know, pretty good start, good tape out? What is the award and the organization going to do for a band like you guys?
Well, basically all it's going to do is give us the recognition and just feel us real supported by our peers, which we really appreciate. And I don't know, besides that, we're just glad to see, I mean, it's going to help us as well as every band in the state, just having an original and, I don't know, just having everyone get together in the music scene and be unified.
And maybe a few more gigs, too.
Well, who knows?
Yeah, all right, congratulations,
we'll take it.
Guys. The Mutts, best rock.
Okay, Jackson, next category is heavy metal. And that, of course, heavy metal means never having to say you're sorry, right?
That's right. That's right, man. In the category of Best Musical Production Rock Metal, this year's Mikey goes to Hell, Let Me Have the Envelope.
The winner for Lost Time, John Sherwood, Stephen Filer, and Vic Andrews of Triax again.
Just until 5 seconds ago, when I had to make up a speech before I came up here. Okay. Thank you. I want to say thanks to my family, John, Vic, Kevin, Cheryl, Barney, Georgiana, everybody. We're all one family. Rock and roll. Rock and roll.
Everybody at 27, and don't forget those people that are out in LA from New Mexico also that are helping out, trying to do it for themselves. Don't forget about them. Thank you all.
I'm sorry, we already talked to you guys. It's okay. No, congratulations, Triax, winners in the best metal band. And was there any doubt?
Well, to tell you the truth, it was kind of questionable, you know.
Yeah, we didn't know
with Power Source going behind us and everything.
They're a good band.
So what's next for Triax then?
We're heading on a tour. Getting loaded, having a good old time. We're partying down.
Triax, best metal band.
Our next guest is the lead guitarist for Rick Springfield. He's recorded with Bon Jovi, Crowded House, Kenny Loggins, Belinda Carlisle, John Waite, Joan Armatrading, just to name a whole bunch. He serves as a constant reminder to our young musicians that desire and dedication, practice and perseverance do indeed pay off. Please proudly welcome our native son, Tim Pierce.
I'm really happy to be here. This is a very professional evening, and I didn't expect it to be this good. It's really, really good. I live in LA because I get to play loud, obnoxious guitar for a living. And now my dream now is to someday live here and play loud, obnoxious guitar for a living, because I'll never be able to quit. But I think this organization is great, and I'd love to be a part of it, and I'd love to be back next year. I get to say nominees for this category. It's for Best Musical Production, Pop Adult Contemporary, and the finalists are Busy McCarroll and The Motion, John Klein, Andrea Klein, and Kevin Hughes, and Fritz Richard. Okay. Envelope. The winner for Grace Under Pressure is John Klein, Andrea Klein, and Kevin.
folks aren't here tonight, I'd like to say hello to John Klein's parents. Mom, Dad, I couldn't make it tonight. This is a real surprise for me because there's some incredible talent out here in this town and state overall. The two people that I really want to wish to thank are standing up here with me. John Klein, who is really an incredible sound engineer and a very, very good producer. He and his wife, Andrea Klein, who is a tremendous performer as well and a singer, have been following me for the last couple of years and supporting me. I'd like to give them a hand. It's the same situation as we heard earlier. A lot of this is done on the assumption that one day we'll all be rich, and we're doing a lot of this now for free, and I really appreciate the help they've given me. So in essence, what I'm saying is I could not have done any of this without them, and my hat's off to them. The other person I would like to thank is Phil Applebaum, who's been telling me that it's about time to get out in front of crowds and sing live again, and I think that's probably pretty damn good advice. And lastly, I'd like to thank Mickey with Grandma's Music, who is really a friend to the musicians in this community, and everybody knows that he has the greatest shop in town and state-of-the-art equipment, and we couldn't do it without you, Mickey.
Well, anybody that knows me probably won't believe this, but I ran out of things to say a couple of words ago.
Well, I do have a few things to say. First off, I'd like to thank Kevin. Be strong, trust yourself, and get your tunes out there. And I'd like to thank John for hanging in there with me on my own work and giving me the pleasure of supporting him in his endeavors. And I'd like to acknowledge all my super talented friends. Let's take it to the top. And thank you to my family. I love you.
The next award is for Best Arrangement, and they had some stuff written for me, so I'll go for it here. How important is an arrangement? Well, you take the song Betty Davis Eyes. Here's a song that Jackie DeShannon wrote and performed without any real success. And I'm sure it ended up like a dead song, a cassette on her publisher's shelf, and probably never to be heard of again. But Val Garay and Tim Carnes saw potential in the song, and by recording it in a clever way, they made it into a #1 single. Yeah, okay. Right. So the finalists for Best Arrangement are Paul Marcus and Jim Cameron, Kevin J. Hughes, Fritz Richard, Tim Rich and Stuart Gord, and Eric Larson. The winner for I Remember is Paul Marcus and Jim Cameron.
Person I'd like to thank, this is really exciting, the first person I'd like to thank is Jim, who offered this song to me. He turned it on, I was telling this story earlier. We walked in our studio together where we write, and he pushed on this song he had written a year or two earlier, maybe longer. And at the end of the first verse, I just stopped the tape recorder, sat down and wrote a new chorus. I never have heard the original chorus, and it was just one of those magic moments, and I want to thank Jim for this.
Well, thank you very much. We've both been writing for probably 20 years and performing. And of course, we started when we were, 7, 8, wasn't it? Right. And the last time I won anything was at Filthy McNasty's on the Sunset Strip about 1970 something or other. So I appreciate this very much. It's been a long time. But what I wanted to say seriously before I thank anyone is that this is a tremendous, tremendous event, and the fact that everybody's come together, everybody's on the same track, just speaks so much inside, I know, to each of us and everyone who's a musician. The question now for next year and the year after that and the year after that is, how do we get this music out to the public? Because there's just a phenomenal talent, just amazing talent in this state. And Tim Pierce spoke about coming back to New Mexico and being able to live as a professional. And that's really the challenge for the next year and the year after that. And I hope we can together accomplish that. Then to finally finish up, I want to thank Paul, Eric Larson, Tim Rich, and of course my wife, Jan. Thanks very much.
I'd also like to thank Tim Rich for doing such a great job engineering and mixing this. And I'd also like to thank Tina, my wife. Thank you.
Right now we're going to get some of that award-winning music out to the public. We're going to present former Mike Award winners from Taos and the world, the Mutts.
Well, I'll tell you, it's tougher to play in front of a bunch of musicians, I think, than a bunch of drunk people, that's for sure. Anyways, we're going to try and rock you out here. This is called Simple Song, about a girl. I guess she's a simple girl.
Arc it up, John.
No problem.
We're here tonight with State Senator Tom Rutherford, who will be emceeing the event tonight. And Senator, there's been a lot of talk in recent years about putting Albuquerque and New Mexico on the map, becoming big time. And what I want to know from your perspective as a legislator, is that something that we have to go out and specifically do things to accomplish, or is that something that will happen inevitably as the Sun Belt develops, et cetera?
I think Albuquerque's already on the map. The problem we have is that people are not quite sure what to think of Albuquerque. We're not known for anything in particular. That's begun to change with things like the Balloon Fiesta and perhaps the beauty pageants and certainly the state fair and things like that. Music is very much a part of the quality of life, and that's something that we've begun to stress, I think, importantly in Albuquerque. And so events like this help to develop an industry that very much enhances the quality of life here. And I think this kind of an activity is important to continue to recognize those who make life around here a lot better.
Okay, so in a general way, then the arts are a significant part of is that something that's put Albuquerque on the map already? Is that one of the reasons we are on the map, as you say?
Well, I think people who know about New Mexico probably love it most for its beauty and variety of culture and geography. And so all of that sort of natural art, it lends itself to inspiring other kinds of art, whether it was the early Taos artists or today's modern musicians. And I think it is a very important part of it from a revenue standpoint, from the state legislative aspect. The arts generate a tremendous amount of revenue, or again, whether it's just a matter of how beautiful a place we live in.
Right. Do we want, as some people have used the phrase, to make Albuquerque an L.A. on the Rio Grande? Is that an objective that, not that you personally have, but do you see that as happening, as something even worthwhile?
Oh, it's certainly not my objective. I hope that Albuquerque will continue to grow because of the beautiful things that are here, that we won't go out of our way or try to change our way of life in order to attract different kinds of things here, but rather to develop the beautiful things that are here and therefore attract the kind of people who will complement those sorts of activities, whether it be music or art or outdoor recreation or just a friendly atmosphere.
Right. All right. Thank you. This is State Senator Tom Rutherford, and we thank you for being here, and let's go back to the show.
Thanks. the much will help us wrap up the evening. Before we continue with the awards presentation, there are some people we would like to say a special thank you to. First of all, a special thanks to Linda Miller and Doug Abbott and the staff here at the Ramada Classic Hotel for their gracious hospitality. We have enjoyed the evening, and we had a lot more people here tonight than we ever dreamed, and they were quick to accommodate us. A special thanks to Linda Montoya, who stepped in as our photographer at a moment's notice and has done a wonderful job capturing the evening. You should check with Eric Larson and the folks up at the front of the stage after the show if you want to order some prints. And if you place your order someday, your prints will come. The advertisers in the program have helped to pay for some of the cost of presenting the show, and it wouldn't have been possible without them. We ask that you please thank them in the next several weeks for their support of the New Mexico Music Industry Coalition. You may have noticed in the program that Bill Airy was to have been here tonight to present an award. Bill had to be out of town. He found out at the last minute and sends his regards and expresses regrets for not being here. In an unfortunate twist of fate, we failed to mention in the program our board chair, Robin Yarborough. Robin, thank you. You and the coalition have done a marvelous job. I'd like to introduce Robin to you and also our stage assistants, Wendy and Julie and Robert. Thank you very much. As you know, putting on a show like this takes lots and lots of time, more hours than anyone dreamed, and there are lots of people who gave of their time freely. Directing us from backstage and keeping this show together, the owner of Dolce Sound, our stage manager, Stephanie Vetter. Stephanie, please step up here. She dress up nice. Our production coordinators, John Klein, Phil Applebaum, and Mike Ross. Finally, the guys who wrote and directed this extravaganza, George Gessner and Eric Larson. We'd like to say a special thank you to Phil's mother for flying all the way out here to see him in a suit. Thank you, Mom. I'd like to ask that the award winners will be able to pick up their certificates at the table after the show, but we would like all of those who received awards tonight to please stay after the show so that we can take some pictures. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, to present our next award, quite an exciting event for us. To present the next Mike Awards, a couple who got their start here in Albuquerque. She has found success as a backing vocalist, choreographer, and costumer for Natalie Cole and Jeffrey Osborne. He plays keyboards for the Pointer Sisters and is in constant demand for session work. Let's welcome Albuquerque's own Jeannie and Greg Welchel.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? I'll tell you, it's a great pleasure for us to be here today, and I want to thank those responsible for asking us to come here and present these awards. This is really a monumentous occasion. I never thought any such thing would ever occur in New Mexico. Not that I was doubting, it's just that, as you all know, there's so much talent here in New Mexico, and so many great players, producers, and performers that never got any recognition of any kind, and I think it's high time that an event like this finally occurred. We have 3 awards to present, Best Engineer, Best Producer, and Best Final Product. There were way more nominees than it allows to list all the names, so we'll just be telling you who the winners are. In the category of Best Engineer,
The envelope, please.
and the winner is?
For Rio Grande River, Tim Rich.
Okay, I'd like to thank the people that put in a lot of work, all the, like Lisa, who put in a lot of time arranging. And there's a lot of people who put in a lot of time and effort into producing songs and music, and they really deserve recognition. You know, the people behind the scenes. I'd like to thank my wife, Cindy, who doesn't mind when I don't come home till 4 a.m. every morning, because I'm at the studio all the time. And that's it. Thanks a lot.
This year's next award for the
Wait a
Mike.
minute.
Now what, Greg?
I'm kind of a little peeved because everybody else got, and we have to read these things here. Everybody else got like jokes and stuff. I didn't get any jokes.
So tell a joke, Greg.
I don't know any jokes.
Make it a clean joke, Greg.
Stephanie, you got any jokes back there?
We got a dozen of them.
Stephanie, I can't say this. Okay, I'll say it anyway. It seems there was this blind guy that was given a snake for his birthday. And he'd never experienced a snake before. He didn't know what it was. So he asked his other blind friend, he says, "Man, can you tell me what is this thing?" So he gave it to him, and his friend is checking it out, and he goes, "Well, let's see. I don't know, man, it's real shifty, and it's pretty slimy, and it doesn't have any ears at all. I think it must be a record producer."
You could have told that joke after we presented this next award. Okay.
I know, we all know that isn't true, actually. The next award, which is Best Producer.
It goes to the envelope, please. For Boney Pilgrim, Jeff Nelson, Jack Cliff, and Baird Band.
Anyway, it's Bone Pilgrim, not Boney Pilgrim. And I'd like to say thank you for Jack Clift, who couldn't be here, one of the co-producers on the project. And I'd also like to say thank you to Collegiate Sound for making the project possible. And also thank you to all those people whose sounds we stole.
As Jeff said, this was a completely sampled album, and we were testing the limits of some things, and we're glad you liked it. Thank you.
Okay, the final category is Best Final Product, and the finalists for that are Bonnie and the Boomerangs, John Medeiros, Masterpieces for Lute, The Mutts, 27 Devils, Joking, Triax, and the Caddies.
And the envelope, please.
And the winner is... I just wanted to do that.
For the Mutts, and John Clyde.
These guys, I've been with them for 4 years now or so, and these guys are the most ambitious group of musicians I've ever been around, and I've been doing this for 15 or 20 years now, and I think these guys are going somewhere, and I think I've latched onto a star here.
say thanks again, and we feel very honored to accept this because a lot of the competition was pretty stiff, and we just want to say again, thanks to everybody. Let's do this again next year.
And remember, the main thing about music is have fun. That's the main thing.
By the way, call your local radio stations and request original New Mexico music.
Before I get to present the final award, I'd like to remind that finalists may pick up your certificates immediately following the program at the table. Our final Mike Award this evening is Best of Show. This award is given to the entry receiving the highest score from the judges in any category. And now the winner of this year's Best of Show. Ladies, you've certainly done a nice job with this tonight. The best of this year's New Mexico Music Industry Coalition entrance, the Best of Show award goes to Jeff Nelson, Jack Cliff, and Mayor Banner from Northern California.
Jack Cliff sent a message with one of his friends, and it says, the voice of the people is unmuzzled at last. Jack, thank you.
Thank you very much. We're a studio on the back road between Albuquerque and Santa Fe, and a lot of times people wonder what we do, and that's what we do. Thank you. This concludes our award ceremony. I have been especially honored to be among such wonderful, artful, happy people. The good thing about music is having fun, and it certainly makes our lives better, and it certainly has been an important part of the wonderful things that we enjoy in New Mexico. I am very proud to have been here for the first annual awards, and I hope we will have many more of these in the future.
No comment. No comment. I love you. I love you.
When dancers are rehearsing, it's often hard to get their attention. Can you tell me, can you girls tell me, do you watch the Musician television show?
Yes.
You do, and what is your favorite part about it? When they do what?
The cartwheels.
The cartwheels. Well, listen, as you guys are famous dancers, right?
Tune in
Are
Thursday
you,
nights with
what are your
repeats on
famous
Friday,
dancing
Sunday, and
names?
Monday, and watch the cartwheels.
Public access to television in Albuquerque, your Community Cable Channel 27.
Televisión de acceso público en Albuquerque, Canal 27, el canal de la comunidad.